Hi, and welcome to the ACSI NICS overview for Impact 2021. I'd like to congratulate you on your choice to go overseas with NICS for the upcoming school year. We're here to share with you about the ACSI NICS partnership and to give you information that will help you in your service at the school that you'll be going to this next year. My name is Tim Thompson, and I'm the Associate Director for International Schools with ACSI. And my colleague.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lydia Zaidama. I'm Director of Academic Development for NICS and Oasis Schools. I'm so excited to join my good friend, Mr. Tim Thompson, for a discussion on how ACSI and NICS Oasis Schools work together.
Okay, Lydia, as we get started today, let me share my screen so that you can see our PowerPoint. I'd like to begin today with sharing with you a very brief video from a lady that I hold in a high esteem. Her name is Adun Akinimaju. Adun is formerly the ACSI director of the office in Nigeria. Now she's the director of ACSI Africa. And Adun shares three very significant, very important concepts in this very short video clip. It's only about 30 seconds. The quality may not be good or may not be great. So just watch the words on the bottom of the screen and see if you can identify the three concepts that I'm talking about. Give me just 1 second.
I believe it's time. I believe it's the time. Through Christian education, through this Christian schooling, God is going to raise a new generation. I see them as governors, as presidents, and senators who are going to be the salt and light in society.
When we invest in leaders, we're able really to change an entire country.
That's why I do what I do. That's why I do what I do.
Did you catch the three things? She said, I believe it's time. I believe it's the time. Well, I believe it's the time that God has called you to go. It's the time that God has called you to go wherever you'll be going in any of the NICS schools around the world. And she says, it's the time to be salt and light to the nations. And that's what God has called you to do. No matter what position that you'll be going into next year, he's called you to be salt and light to the nations. And then she says the end, or that little clip, that's why I do what I do. That's why I do what I do. Well, that's why you're doing what you're doing. It's time to be salt and light to the nations. And that's why you're doing what you're doing. That's why you're leaving family and loved ones behind to go to a school someplace in the world to be salt and light to the nations. I commend you for that decision. So I'm going to talk with you about ACSI, and then Lydia will talk with you about NICS and the relationship between the two will be blended in as we both talk. ACSI's mission statement is that ACSI exists to strengthen Christian schools and equip Christian educators worldwide. Again, there's three ideas there that are really important. Strengthen Christian schools is the first, and there's a lot of things that ACSI does, a lot of programs and initiatives to strengthen Christian schools and equip Christian educators individually and personally. Then the last word there, worldwide. That's where you come in. ACSI doesn't exist just for schools in the United States. It exists for schools around the world. You see the star there? That's the head office, the headquarters office in Colorado Springs. There are four regional offices in the United States, 2 in Canada, 5 in Latin America, 2 in Europe, 6 in Africa, and another 6 in Asia. 26 offices worldwide ACSI has. In 108 countries worldwide, supporting nearly 24,000 schools in direct membership and affiliate relationship, and ministering to 5.5 million students globally, again, in a direct membership and affiliate relationship. Of that number, 176 schools are what we consider international Christian schools, international schools, and are part of the international schools region. And you can see the distribution there among the continents. And you'll also notice one of those is in North America. Well, that one school in North America that is an international school is a NICS school, North Star Academy. Our international member schools are in 71 countries around the world, serving over 44,000 students. So quickly, let me get to the thrust of what I'd like to share with you. And how does ACSI serve you? Well, all the things that I'm going to talk about, you can find more information on the ACSI website, acsi.org. Check them out. First is professional development. And there are many ways that ACSI provides professional development. One is conferences. While conferences may have ceased in the United States for ACSI, international conferences are still going strong. And I'll talk just a bit more about international conferences in a second. Flourishing School Institute. You may have heard of the Flourishing School Institute. It basically is a workshop, a conference, whereby school educators can come and take classes in concepts that help schools flourish. There's actually a Flourishing School Survey that your schools can take as well. Certainly don't have enough time to go into details about Flourishing School Institute in this presentation, but I urge you to check it out on the website. The first Flourishing School Institute actually is in Dallas in June. And the next one is already scheduled, is in Orlando in November, and then Chicago in April of 2022. So check it out on the website. Leadership U is a program for burgeoning leaders, young leaders in schools. And it's a program that combines classwork, courses in leadership with mentoring. Check that on the website as well. It's an excellent program for young leaders. Online courses and PD webinars. More information about those can be found on the website. Conferences. There are two types of international conferences. There's an educator conference, which is International Christian Educator Conference. That's for anyone in international schools. And the school leader conferences, International School Leader Conferences, ISLC, and that's for leaders in schools. Upcoming conferences, ACSI Asia is scheduled for November of 2021, and that will be virtual this year due to COVID. There's also an ACSI Europe that's scheduled for April of 2022, and that will either be in the Czech Republic live or virtual. I'm rooting for the Czech Republic live. I hope that we're able to once again do a live conference in the Czech Republic. So stay tuned for more information about that. ACSI Community is free for everyone, and there's the website that'll get you to community. Okay, how do you get logged into it? Well, if you're a staff member, which you will be in a ACSI member school, and most of you will be, then it's free for you. And how you get connected is you need to make sure that your school leader lists you on the ACSI database, and he or she would know how to do that. And then you can log into the community. If you have any problems getting logged in, you can contact me or Lydia or ACSI Member Care, and we'll be glad to help you. Community is basically an online platform where school staff and leaders can share resources, can answer questions, can share ideas, and then there's lots of other things in community as well. So when you're able to log in, check it out. It's a great resource, and it's free to everyone in any member school. ACSI Learning is a paid learning environment with over 600 hours of PD in over 40 channels. And by channel, I mean topic areas, different topic areas like biblical integration or classroom management. There's all kinds of different professional development courses available through ACSI Learning. That is an annual subscription, and I believe the cost is about $90. That may fluctuate up or down depending upon discounts that are available at the time. So check that out online as well. And then lastly, the ACSI blog. You can find that on the website. It's maintained and produced by Research and Development at ACSI, and they write on all kinds of interesting and up-to-date topics. And you can actually sign up for the blog to be emailed with you, but you need to go to the blog page on the website to sign up. And then that'll be emailed to you weekly, I believe. ACSI serves schools, strengthens schools through job fairs. Previously, some of you may have been to a job fair. We would invite international educators to come to the US and represent their school at different colleges and universities. This past year, that was done virtually. In the future, who knows? Maybe it'll be live here in the US, or it may be virtual, or maybe both. ACSI also has a career center that's on the website, and you see the web address there. And that's just where schools can list openings and needs for the upcoming school year or school years. Some of you may have even found out about the opening in the school that you're going to from the ACSI Career Center. And publications. Monthly, ACSI, the International Schools region produces a snapshot for all international educators. You'll get it when you go to your school, as long as you're on the list, on the staff list, on the ACSI database, you will get snapshot with updates and articles and resources, lots of very valuable information. And then, of course, purposeful design publications, which is ACSI's arm for producing textbooks and other resource books for schools. Teacher certification and school accreditation are both two big areas in which both Lydia and I work. Lydia will talk to you about teacher certification. I'm going to say a few words about accreditation. Accreditation is understood recognition that a school meets high quality standards and is committed to school improvement. School accreditation is designed around the principle that excellence grows where a commitment is made to systematic school improvement. And ACSI's goal is to have the finest quality process and documents that are designed to recognize quality in Christian schools and assist them to be motivated in an ongoing march towards school excellence. Right now, we're using the REACH 2019 protocol. There's others that are available: exemplary, boarding, and online. Endorsements, also boarding and online endorsements, but we also have a special needs endorsement. The big news of the day is that there is a new revision in process, protocol and process revision coming in 2023. So stay tuned for more information about that. It will be coming soon. ACSI accredited schools worldwide, there's about 800 in the US and about 109 internationally in 59 countries. Since NICS was born and ACSI was born, there's been a strong cooperative relationship between ACSI and NICS. And Lydia and I have worked together very well in serving the schools that we have in common. And we decided long ago that we are stronger together than we are apart. So we work together in a cooperative partnership to build our mutual schools to be better schools and our mutual educators to be better educators. And we're both here to serve you in that endeavor. And at the very end of our presentation, we'll tell you how you can contact both of us. And please feel free to do so. If you have any needs, any questions, we are here to serve you. Okay, at this point, I'm going to pass the presentation over to my friend and colleague, Lydia Zeideman.
Thank you, Tim. And just to recap what Tim said, is that the mission of ACSI is to strengthen Christian schools and equip Christian school educators. And NICS and OASIS has Christian schools worldwide and Christian educators as well. And so I just want to take a moment to thank Tim. He represents ACSI for the tremendous support that ACSI provides for our NICS and OASIS schools, as well as our educators. All right, now we're going to move into an area that is a little bit more specific to NICS and OASIS. However, one of my goals here is to show you how it is that ACSI supports us in our goals. So I'm going to read the NICS mission. We have a similar mission statement for our Oasis schools. But if you follow along with me, the mission of NICS is to establish a worldwide network of international Christian schools staffed by qualified Christian educators, instilling in each student a biblical worldview in an environment of academic excellence and respect for people of all cultures and religions. Sort of put into our mission statement are a number of goals, and including that would be qualified Christian educators, biblical worldview, environment of academic excellence, respect for people of all cultures and religions. And these are some of the many things that we address in the NICS Department of Academics, very specifically through accreditation, and then something we call the NICS Standards of Best Practice, which I'll talk about a little bit more in just a few minutes. Okay, in our next slide, and just for those of you that have seen the Monday devotional on becoming a resident alien, this will not be new to you, but I think it's a good idea to just quickly run through who our 15 NICS and Oasis schools are and where they're located. So if you'll follow along with me, and Tim's going to move the cursor there. As he mentioned earlier, we have North Star Academy there in the Memphis area. And then moving into South America, we have ACSI Lima in Peru, Highlands International School in Bolivia, Brasilia International School in Brazil. Across the Atlantic over into Eastern Europe, we have Pristina High School in Kosovo. And in the Middle East, we have the Oasis International School of Ankara, Turkey. And down into Africa, we have West Nairobi School in Kenya and Haven of Peace Academy in Tanzania. Then on over into Asia, we have KIA in Central Asia, Oasis International School, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, ICS Singapore in Singapore, and Bandung Intercultural Alliance in Indonesia. Then moving up into the Korean Peninsula, we have the three schools, ICS Yuzhonggu, ICS Pyeongtaek, and Yongsan International School of Seoul in Korea. Well, I want to share with you a little more about how ACSI assists NICS and Oasis schools and educators. One of the most important things that we access ACSI for is accreditation. And ACSI accreditation is required for NICS and Oasis schools for the most part. ACSI serves as the lead partner for regional accrediting organizations, and I'll talk more about those in just a few minutes. ACSI administrator certification is required for the head of school and all principals and assistant principals in all NICS and Oasis schools. The ACSI Christian Philosophy of Education course is required of all leadership and academic personnel. And this is something that you'll hear about when you go to your schools. Within the first 3 years, you will need to take this course, which helps us to guarantee that our teachers know how to teach from a biblical worldview. And then again, ACSI continuing education units are available, and the professional development is also available for the ACSI community. And let me just mention here too, that even though NICS as a whole does not require certification for teachers, ACSI certification for teachers, some schools do, and some schools incentivize this with additional pay. And so ACSI CEUs can help to meet those certification, recertification requirements. If you have questions about any of this, please let me know. And incidentally, you will receive 2 ACSI CEUs for educational studies and international ministry preparation and cross-cultural training, and that's a mouthful, for your participation in Impact 2021. And our next slide. NICS and Oasis board policy says that network schools are required to maintain accreditation in good standing with the Association of Christian Schools International, or ACSI, when possible, as well as with a U.S. Regional Accreditation Association. ACSI serves as the lead partner with regional accrediting entities such as WASC and Cognia, or Advanced Ed, and the Middle States Association. Okay. And now with that in mind, I thought it might be interesting for you to see a chart that shows our schools and their current accreditations for 2020-2021. You will notice that almost all of our schools hold ACSI accreditation, and a regional accreditation. And you can kind of look at that at your leisure and pinpoint where you are. You might notice that Singapore holds 3 separate accreditations, so they're always doing a lot of work there. Okay, our next slide. Now, accreditation really is an area of school life that is cyclical, and several NICS schools are always working toward reaccreditation. Every year, somebody is working toward reaccreditation. During this past year in 2020-21, BICE, ICS Singapore, KIA, Pristina, North Star, and Oasis Kuala Lumpur all hosted accreditation visits. Most of them this year were virtual. And then next year in 2021-2022, Highlands, ICS Lima, and ICS Yuzhangbu will host accreditation visits with ACSI and a regional accrediting agency. Whether or not these will be virtual or live accreditation visits, we don't know yet. Next, I've asked Tim to share with us a little bit about how a school prepares for an accreditation visit and what happens after that. So Tim?
Okay, the accreditation process actually begins with application, with a school applying for accreditation with ACSI. And incidentally, that would be the case for any accrediting agency here in the United States, any regional accrediting agencies. The initial step is application. That leads to a candidacy visit, which normally is done on site because of COVID. We've had to do some of that virtually, but normally that's on site. And then after the candidacy visit, the school starts working on a self-study process. That's a presentation for another time, because that involves a lot of work and a lot of information. In fact, that is where all the work is doing self-study. But once the school processes through that and completes a self-study, then the school hosts a readiness visit to determine whether the school is actually ready to host a visit. We started doing many of those virtually because of COVID. And that actually may continue in the future, that most readiness visits, not all, but many, would be done virtually. Then the school actually prepares for the team visit, and the team visit happens. And that's usually a visit of 3 to 4 days, and the number of team members depends upon the size of the school. This past year, all of our team visits have been virtual, again, because of COVID. But in the future, we definitely hope to return to on-site visits. That's better on many fronts than a virtual visit. Then the school receives the report from the team. The commission also receives the report. The team doesn't actually make the decision of whether the school is accredited or not. That's the Commission on Accreditation for ACSI and any other partner agency. And then that school becomes an accredited school. Starts with application, ends up with accredited school, and altogether it can take 2 to 3 years for that process to happen. Okay, Lydia?
Okay, thank you, Tim. I think it's important to note here, and I think Tim has mentioned it already, but accreditation provides a school with the opportunity for just an incredible amount of professional growth with the goal of school improvement. And that's what it's really all about. So now we're going to look at some things that are very specific to our network, but are supported again by ACSI. NICS and Oasis has its own sets of standards of best practice. And I'll just mention it briefly here. There are 16 NICS standards, and schools self-assess 4 standards per year. And you can learn more about those standards by going into that link. It's also on the website. There are 13 Oasis standards, and the Oasis schools will assess 2 to 4 standards per year. Now, coming up in this year, the standards to be assessed will be for NICS schools, biblical worldview. How's that happening? For both NICS and Oasis schools, they will be looking at academic standards, curriculum, teaching and learning, technology assessments to make sure that they are aligned to provide clear academic focus for 21st century learners and guide school improvement. NICS schools will be examining their Bible classes. Do they have exemplary study of the Bible led by inspiring teachers? Another standard that will be assessed at NICS schools place Jesus Christ at the center of the learning process. Does that happen? in your school. Finally, with OASIS, they'll be looking at whether or not their schools place truth-seeking at the center of the learning process. All of the standards of best practice are aligned with ACSI accreditation standards. The goal here is that we want to ensure that school improvement through the accreditation process is kept a priority at all our network schools every year. So you will learn more about this as when you get to your school. And incidentally, I'll just mention with the standards of best practice, this is the responsibility of your school's director and leadership team. And ultimately, the outcomes for this work will be reflected in his or her annual evaluations. So it's a pretty big deal to our network. All right, let's go to our next slide. I think for my part, I just want to close by mentioning to you that NICS has a university partnership program that is really growing, and it encourages and incentivizes our educators' pursuit of advanced degrees, as well as aids children of NICS educators at some universities. So I hope that you'll check out the website that's linked here, or contact Mr. Jesse Newman if you have questions about the NICS University Partnership Program. If you need to contact us, who do you contact? You can always contact me at lydiaseidema@nics.org. Can't tell you how happy I'd be to help you. Whether it's a question about your recertification with your state back home, or if it has anything to do with accreditation, anything to do with the standards of best practice, curriculum development, you name it, I'd be happy to help you with that. Again, lydiaseidema@nics.org.
And you can contact me at Tim_Thompson. Don't forget that underscore at acsi.org. And as Lydia said, I am more than happy to help you with any questions related to anything at ACSI. I may not be the expert in what the question that you have, because ACSI is a big organization. We provide lots of services, but I can certainly get you to the right person. If you're not sure who to go to at ACSI, then feel free to write directly to me and I'll get you to the right person. Specifically, my responsibilities are accreditation. It's an area that I love and enjoy working with, and enjoy working with Lydia in partnership with her in that area. So as we close today, our challenge to you is to impact your world as you're heading out to a NICS school around the world in one of the continents, one of the 4 continents that you will be going to. Remember what Adun said in the little short clip that I shared with you at the beginning. She said it's the time. And it is the time. God has called you at this time. You're called for this time and for this purpose. And I challenge you to keep that in mind. And you're called to be a salt and light to impact our world. So be that salt and be that light to impact our world. And that's why you're doing what you're doing. That's why you're doing what you're doing. So be encouraged that God's called you. Be challenged. Stay faithful. And we are here to help in any way that we can. So thank you for the opportunity to share with you during this short time. So from ACSI, farewell and best wishes. And from you, Lydia?
I just would simply say the same thing. We're praying for you. We want to support you. And we know that God has great things in store for you. And most important will be those kids in the classroom that you have the opportunity every day to teach the truth about who Jesus Christ is and what he can do in their lives.
Blessings to you all. Bye-bye.